had you ever had the feeling that you now wrote yourself into a corner? And
No. Yeah, no, go on. Yes, I have, so please do. Is that the question?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, here's another, I'm sorry, but because I hear, some of these things I'm telling you are things I have said before. I apologize for anyone who's heard me speak other times. But this is something people often want to know. They want to know, do you get yourself into trouble? Or the other way people often phrase it is, do your characters sometimes do things that you don't want them to do? Which is another one. And yes to both things. And where it's particularly a problem is, as I mentioned before, when you have a plan for, say, the end of the book. The end of the book and your hero, whatever, or heroine, the most important character, somebody is going to, shoot an arrow at them and is going to try to kill them and hit them in the heart and kill the main character. And so you know that early on, that. And so you're going to have, somebody is going to leap in front of the main character. And sacrifice themselves, and get an arrow in the eye or whatever. Okay, so that's all right, that will work, that's all right, but if it's going to work, it can't be a character who is wearing the Star Trek red shirt. It has to be, because first of all, no one will care, and second of all, science fiction and fantasy readers are very smart. They read these things. They know what happens. So if you have a character who has no personality and is just following the main character around, you can tell right away that one is marked for death, So, a clever writer, or me, takes this character and introduces them early on in the story. Right? So that, it's not a surprise later on that that character is going to be there at the important moment. But you can't just introduce them if they're going to be in the story so that they are not the Star Trek red shirt. They have to have their own background, their own story. They have to be a real character. But sometimes what happens is, when you make them a real character, you develop a history for them. And as you write them, they develop a personality that is interesting to the reader, so it feels like they're, important. And then you get to that point of the story where the arrow is on the string, and the main character is looking brave and heroic, but sort of not paying attention, And then all of a sudden, twang! But that character that you invented to jump in front of the arrow, you have suddenly realized is the last person in the world who would ever jump in front of an arrow to save that fucking hero, So, excuse my language, those of you who are shocked, but, so what do you do? What do you do? There's your character you had all planned, and he's going, oh, not me, buddy. Well, of course you have to grab another character and throw them in front. Guess what? It's your time to be a star. Pling in the eye, and this is why I have lots of characters. So yes, I do write myself into corners. Yes, I do have to improvise things. And to be honest with you, and this is actually, these books, a very good example. Sometimes, one of the things that drives me mad about some books is that it is so clear that the writer said, ooh, I thought of this really cool way for the good guy or whatever to escape from this impossible situation, And it's so nice they know they have to use it in a book. So they construct the whole thing around that, and you can tell. You can tell that they're doing it just because they have a solution that's really cool, and they'll do some MacGyver thing, and they will build a Panzer tank out of tinfoil and matchsticks, or whatever. But what I like to do, and I'm serious about this is not a joke, I like to write myself into corners sometimes where I have no idea In fact, I have given up on it. You know, I will just go, it's not possible. My main character is now dead. There is no way that they're going to get out of it. And that's really good, because then I have to go away and say, you know, especially in a book like this where the main character is very similar to me and the kinds of things he knows and the kind of things he's interested in. So then I go away and I say, oh my God, what if I was in that situation? What would I do? What would I do? If worse comes to worse, you can change it and get rid of it or something. But I like to instead say, I have to solve this. I don't have a plan. Here's a really cool, scary situation to put the character in. Now how do I get out of it? And sometimes I think that that gives some life to it. You know, you can definitely see that the things I come up with are crazy. You know, they're just like, oh my God. But it feels like a decision somebody suddenly made. You know, it feels like a real solution. So, does that more or less